All right, so we are in the middle of Hopped Up Network Week here on the Sunshine State Happy Hour, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com and the Florida Beer Podcast. This is Dave, your host and author. And I kind of want to dovetail just ever so slightly for a few seconds before we get started with our guests. And once you see why, our guests will definitely understand why I'm kind of going into this. But one of the things that I just purchased was this awesome enamel pin from Yeasty Brews, who is a new brewery that is currently building out in the Lauderhill area. What's neat about this is their logo. It's $8, and proceeds are going towards a hospitality relief fund that has been set up by Florida International University here in South Florida. So it's only $8. I got my pin, and I definitely recommend that you get yours as well, since it does go to a good cause. And that cause is one of the reasons why we are chatting with our illustrious guests today. From the South Jersey Beer Scene podcast, we have John. I didn't even bother to ask you how to pronounce your last name, so I'm not going to try.
Can you give it a try?
Jones.
That's very good. It's John Couchoud, like a sneeze.
Couchoud, exactly, gotcha. Like a sneeze, yeah. That works. And he brought along Rob Gallaghan from Tuckahoe Brewery in New Jersey. Rob, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Are you actually at the brewery, or is that awesome ship at your house?
I'm at the brewery.
You are at the brewery. Awesome.
Yeah.
Steve, I know you've had a very long day.
Another day in the sun.
Another day in the sun. Working next to one of the great breweries here in Fort Lauderdale. What did you bring home, and what are you drinking?
I'm drinking the cream ale. It looks very pretty. Imperial, 9%. Very good, but it has a nice, nasty bite on the end.
Nice. With that beautiful FIU glass, which is funny.
Beautiful FIU glass.
John,
and a beautiful can.
Oh, nice. We were just talking. That is from Steve.
Tarpon River Brewing in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. All right, and John.
I was working on the road outside of their brewery all day today, so I had to go pick up something and some mac and cheese and
bonus.
It's always great to have breweries that have a kitchen, you know.
Yeah,
not in Jersey.
Not in Jersey.
Yeah,
really?
Jersey
Why?
has their rules.
We have weird rules.
Yeah.
Different rules for different fools here. They don't. Yeah, they're not very brewery.
Okay, so,
those Northern Blue laws.
Okay. So let's. John, what are you drinking? And then Rob, what are you drinking? And I want to hear more about those rules because I find that interesting. So what do you have, John?
I have a loop. There it is from Tuckahoe Brewing Company, and I got it in my Brewery Strong glass here,
nice.
Which is one of the things that we're involved in. So loop, there it is. This is a DI. It's a double. It's great, and it's got it's fruity, citrusy, and it's got a nice little hot bite on the end, but not too hot. It's really good. It's nice beer.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll definitely be chatting about all of that very soon. I'm kind of jealous of your jacket and your hat. I'm taking a look at that in your Bourbon County. I'm just looking inside your home. I'm
thank you,
a creeper. And then Rob, right as you go into sip, what do you have? I would assume yours is from Tuckahoe Brewing as well.
It is. So I'm drinking Funny Colored Balls, which is a New England IPA. All our neighbors are similar in style. It's super juicy. The newer beer was meant for Atlantic City Beer Fest, which unfortunately was canceled, and we had canning everything that was in the tank. So that was one of the ones, and got a label made pretty quick and got it out in cans, and it's actually doing very well out there.
Nice. So let's chat a little bit about this because it's interesting, and I do find the liquor law or the beer laws from state to state to be kind of interesting. What is with the whole no kitchen in the brewery?
Rob, you go first, and then I'll add in because it directly affects you.
So when the breweries first opened here, they weren't even allowed to have a tasting room. Like, you basically went in, you could get to-go beer, and you could get a couple of free samples. I think 2012, right? They eased the laws and allowed a tasting room and no other things. So, I mean, basically, it's the lobbyists for bigger entities prevailed, and we're not allowed to have food because we don't pay as much for licenses.
But it does get a little screwy because we do have brew pubs. There's a different license you can get that's a brew pub where we have, I think there's probably 10 to 12 across the state where they can serve food. And so if you come here and you're like, well, why can they do it and why can they not do it? It's because there's 42 different types of licenses here in New Jersey and regulated by different. Then you have the bigger breweries that are trying for different things, and the smaller breweries are in a big growing pains here. From the tavern side, little tavern type breweries. Rob's at a mid-sized brewery. Then we have breweries that distribute regionally that are in a different state. So we're all in different states of building a brewery here, and that's the biggest part of the problem.
I mean, I come to Florida all the time. Like my parents live in Tampa, and usually I fly in. I stop at the old waterworks building there called Eulalie, which I love. Yeah. Beers are awesome. The food's awesome. It's a great concept, and I'm glad that people in Florida there obviously are forward thinkers because the typical New Jersey is knock the building down, let's build a new one instead of reutilizing what's there and trying to preserve a little bit of history while improving an area. And it's.
It runs much deeper, though. I mean, you're not really allowed to have food trucks on the lots, but there's ways that you can have it. The laws, I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, the laws are crazy. They're crazy. So suffices to say that there are people that are trying to change them. And remember, this is 2012, so we're relatively new to the scene, just crossed the 100 brewery threshold late last year, but growing one of the fastest growing brewery states in the country.
Nice. That's great to hear. So with all the growth, with everything that's going on, how have the breweries in your area been affected? What have they been able to do to sort of survive in this bizarre new normal that we have?
I'll jump in here real quick. So we weren't allowed to have home delivery or anything, nothing. You weren't allowed to do anything. So the one thing the governor did do, he allowed home delivery, curbside delivery, that kind of thing. Then they took it away for like 48 hours and they reinstated it again. So, and Rob can speak more to this. They all had to pivot. They had beer and, giant tanks full of beer that they were going to put in kegs that you had to find new ways to distribute. And Rob, they actually found an interesting way to do it too, with a different type of can. Yep. So Rob, you probably take that away, what you guys did.
Yeah. I mean,
this is similar across the state.
The reality is that we had too much beer in tanks, and our main owner is older, so he didn't really want to come in when all this happened. So we made some decisions where let's can 85% of what we have in tanks. Getting labels approved is usually a process. I found it a lot easier now that everybody lets have time on their hands because I send my labels out for approval and they're done and they're approved in a week, which is amazing. But we did that, and then we did growlers, but we didn't really want people bringing outside growlers in, so in lieu of buying a growler machine, I did some research, and we ended up using the twisty can to get rid of our draft. I don't know if you're familiar with the twisty can. It looks like a
crowler, but you can twist it on and off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has a twist top. It's called an oxygen bedding top or something like that. I don't even know the whole terminology to it, but it's quicker to ship than growlers. We had a label made up that you can pop it on, it has the government warning, and you write the name of the beer on there. So, we've been running specials with it. We have two different sizes, 32 ounce, 25.7 ounce, and we do a 3 for $30 with that. And we've had great success with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the breweries too, pivoting to, so we have a lot of breweries that didn't have a crowler machine. And my son-in-law is actually a head brewer at one of the local breweries that doesn't have a crowler machine. And these twisty caps have become hard to find because everybody wants them.
I see you scrolling on Instagram there. You could probably get
I was just about to say, I think I have one right here.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, one of the other breweries in South Jersey had used them. Ship Bottom had used them last year because they're by the beach, right. And it was kind of a quick thing that they could fill out. But this is the first time I've seen anybody else use them in South Jersey.
I mean, honestly, the service has been great. The orders come when I first went on, I was like, everybody's going to be trying to do this, and they said there was a back order, but I got them in 4 days, and we reordered again. We're on our sixth. We ordered 6 boxes so far. And we've gone through the ones we use for the special. We've already gone through 2 boxes, and we're into the 3rd. So
interesting. And it's funny to see how people are dealing with crowler shortages, because that is the thing that I've never anticipated, but now it's just sort of exploded, unfortunately. John, what else have you heard? What else have you heard in the area?
So, we deal with a lot statewide at South Jersey Beer Scene. We're South Jersey Beer Scene, but we really get the whole, we've pretty much included the whole state in what we do. Deliveries become such a huge thing. Delivery all over the state. A couple of our friends that are up North Jersey, they have a designated delivery day in South Jersey. For those of you who've never been in New Jersey, it's about a 3.5 hour ride from top to bottom of the state. It's not as sprawling as Florida, but it's a little bit the same as far as just, Parkway, whatever, going to these counties. So they have all pretty much done the delivery with very few exceptions. Beer sales are, they're never going to be what they are when they were in the bars. But I think, and Rob will probably agree, we were pleasantly surprised about how much, how the sales and how much the local community has really helped that. And in the midst of all this, one of the beer fans here in South Jersey created a Facebook group with a bracket.
That was pretty cool.
With like a bracket, like a March Madness style bracket, pitting brewery against brewery, and good fun all the way to the end. And it just exploded to 4,000 members, and have brewery owners in there and showing what they can get and what, when they can get it and how they're delivering, and people working together. It was really, really crazy. So we've seen a lot of camaraderie and a lot of delivery.
Have you had a lot of people that are basically just going to be closed, that decided to stop operations, shut their doors, and maybe won't be coming back once this is over?
I know of one.
Yeah.
But not really. I think everybody's trying to stick it out. So in South Jersey, we're a tourist spot. We're we're the beach, we're the campgrounds, we're all this. So a lot of these South Jersey breweries count on these 5 months for the majority of their income. And with that being said, I'm in the healthcare field in my day job, and I deal with oxygen and vents all day. So I feel like I'm a little pessimistic, not as Rob's a little bit more optimistic about it. But I think that if this goes on another month or two, it's going to be hard to keep up with just takeout and limited amount of draft accounts. So we'll have to see that.
It actually is going a month or two. I informed my wife before I get home tonight that I'm wearing my special sweatshirt, which means no questions, no talking. It's a little article she sent me. I don't want to be bothered, because I found out today that our governor, I call him Nero now because he's fiddling as he's watching New Jersey burn down in flames, has extended the order for another 30 days. And I'm sure that he's going to do more after that. And, people are now looking at 4th of July, which will destroy this area.
Yeah, it's a couple of the local towns said they were going to open up Memorial Day, and I think this was probably the response to it, saying that, you're not opening Memorial Day. So New Jersey's really 2 states. We have North Jersey, and when you see all these statistics that are happening on CNN and Fox News, that's basically a North Jersey number. In South Jersey, we're not as affected, but it's still, we're not testing as much down here, and we don't know. So people are scared. But we're getting an influx of people from everywhere, and I think that's the biggest part of the problem. Yeah. But and as a business owner, I'm sure I get letters every day from the business owners, and it's hard, it's harrowing to hear what they're going through. But I don't know if there's anything more that they can do than what they're doing right now.
Well, I think that they're going to see some people start ignoring orders after a certain amount of time. The reality is, how are they going to stop everybody? They can't. It's like they're talking about having people social distance on the beach. And
you're in Lauderdale. You probably have the same thing going on down there.
Yep.
Well, it's happening quite a bit. We're starting to get the groups of people protesting about being open and whatnot.
And you got to remember, this thing kicked in 3rd week of spring break. So all the Fort Lauderdale beach businesses that rely on spring break have nothing for the past 2 months now.
And the cruise ship industry is a big
And the cruise ship industry is insane.
Yeah.
Right. I flew through Tampa end of February, the Gasparilla Marathon or whatever. There was 5 million people in the airport.
Yep.
Yeah, it was around then.
The other thing too is even when they relax laws. So we have a seasonal business. If they say they can open up at 25% capacity, a lot of these restaurants are still not going to open up because they're not going to be able to pay their bills.
Right.
And a lot of the help that we have here in South Jersey is from overseas or North Jersey or Philadelphia, and they're not going to travel. I mean, we see a lot of that. We're very sparsely populated for parts of the year, and we rely on people from other places to man these places. And talking to owners, and we're very close with a lot of the restaurant owners. I mean, Rob and me have known these people for 30 years. They can't open at 25% capacity and pay people and make money. So it's kind of like it's kind of juggling everything.
Well, I was talking to John today. He was gracious enough to drop me some beers that he had, and I said, look at the casino plan. The casino plan is when they reopen, you can have 25% occupancy during the week, but you can have 70% to the weekend. Like that, the math doesn't work.
Right.
No.
That's not how this works.
That's insanity.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny that you mentioned the 25% because most of Florida has opened, with the exception of Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Miami-Dade County. They're still stuck in very strong, mid-COVID restrictions, which is of course where we are.
Right, but
we don't even get the 25%.
But it does. I think we can say this though, as far as the beer community goes, there's a lot of camaraderie here. If he needs a bag of grain, he knows he can go to this guy and get it. There's been a lot of innovation, and a lot of people bought into the other half did the all together thing.
Yeah, it was just a good
tons of people did that here.
Did you see your partner? He just chimed in. Common Core math. My wife's in education, so I laugh at that. I'm like, who teaches math like that? Like, oh my Lord. Yeah,
it's funny because I saw the pictures on Tuckahoe's Instagram page with all together, or your version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So it's good.
Yeah, it turned out really well. I wear many hats here. We only have 4 full-time employees. So we maximize our use, and it's like, so I do social media. I'm the sales manager. I deal with distributors. I do our price list for there's a lot of things I do, and everybody does a lot here, and it's great. Like we all get along pretty well. We have a really great team right now. We pretty much have hit our stride, and things are starting to perk up for us. And this was like a slap in the face.
Yeah. Well, one of the hats that you added to your portfolio was being president of the new Brewery Strong organization, which is a charity very similar to the pin that I mentioned at the top of the show, where you are taking donations and whatnot just for the New Jersey hospitality scene.
Yep.
How did actually creating a nonprofit get started with the two of you?
Wow. So John uses me on a lot of his live events. You never know what I'm going to say, so it's usually pretty interesting. So he said, when this all happened, he's like, I want to have you on this day. And I was like, all right, great. And I started using the hashtag Brewery Strong, and that came from, just got done eating dinner. I watch every news outlet there is. I try to make my own decisions, but the one news outlet that I actually feel good at the end is ABC World News, because he does America Strong, and it's always something good. It's always uplifting and whatnot. And I was walking up the stairs to go do the live cast with him, and I was like, wow, how about Brewery Strong, So I said, hashtag Brewery Strong, let's get this rolling. And, I feel like Jerry Maguire, it was just a mission statement, but now it turned into something so big. And honestly, when I brought it to John, I talked about it, and I said, I have a logo being done by our label artists. And honestly, those guys came through so quickly and awesomely. As soon as I showed it to John, he was like, dude, this thing's awesome. And we got it rolling. And we picked such a good team to help us launch it. It's unbelievable. I mean,
Rob's a very passionate guy, and he gets all emotional and choked up about this kind of stuff because he really does. I've known Rob for 30 years. We've known each other since we were kids, and he's very passionate about it. So we put it in action fairly quickly. I think it was March 24th.
Yes.
Or April, it was, and then
March 24th. Yeah.
And then we took some people that we knew would be good all across the state. We took Alexis Deegan, who is the executive director of the New Jersey Brewers Association. A couple breweries from the north, Augie Carton from Carton Brewing Company, which is one of the oldest. You guys may even have heard of Carton Brewing.
I've heard of them. Haven't had their stuff, but I have heard of them.
And somebody from Sigmeister Brewing, and somebody from the Twin Elephant, and we have another thing here called New Jersey Craft Beer. It's a club that one of our friends came up with. Is now our friend came up with, that has 16,000 members. That's like a discount club. He stepped on to, and we've had a lot of fun just trying to figure out how to do it. And the support's been overwhelming. It's very humbling. I mean, we've raised a significant amount of money quickly through merch sales, the altogether donations, just generous donations from people. We've done a good job, and I think, and when all said and done, we're close to $20,000 once all the donations are in. We're without even trying, and we've actually put the application up for people for grants. We want to get money out as quickly as we possibly can, and we think that's the way to do it.
I was going to say, is it a difficult process? Because like you said, there's some pretty major tourism hotspots, some hospitality hotspots within the state of New Jersey. Obviously, from, being from Florida, we understand. So there's a lot of people that don't have anything coming in. Are you getting a lot of people that are asking for assistance? And how difficult a process is it to get the money in and funnel it to the people that need it most?
We've gotten the money in fairly quickly. We have an application out there. We've gotten a handful of people. I think it's one of those things that people are like, wow, I've never heard of this. Is this a real thing? So we're trying to get the word out across the state just to make sure. But we vet them. We have a pretty succinct, easy application that says, are you unemployed and currently unemployed and worked in the New Jersey brewery, bar, or restaurant industry that serve craft beer? Yes, then it takes the rest of the application, tell us who you work for, give us the name of your supervisor. We call, we vet them. Yeah, they work for me, and the money's going to go out.
Yeah, and honestly, so many people have stepped up. This is my second career, so for me, I've met so many great people in this. And in my first career, even while I was working, I was in the hospitality industry as a bartender, and it means a lot to me. So I think that so many people know me all over the state because I do travel the whole state, and John knows a lot of people. That brings a lot to the table, and I feel that we're just getting started. We're just scratching the surface here, and I have a guy that comes in here. The glass I have here, there we go. The glass I have right here.
I'll put you up. There you go.
Yeah, he was from. Yeah, okay, here you go. Yeah, so Arc America. This was a guy who I met just having a beer in here one day, and he wanted to test some glassware, and I reached out to him for this, and he had glasses to me in 2 days, and that means a lot to me.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
Now, this is obviously just for the state of New Jersey, correct?
Mm-hmm. And so I don't think we want to keep it limited to the state of New Jersey, but right now it is. But, we wanted to grow, whether it be other chapters of Brewery Strong or a national. We don't know that yet.
I was going to say, has there been any interest in breweries or people wanting to grow the concept and the charity outside of the state?
Yes, we've had a couple of people that have inquired about it, but we're so new. We want to be able to have a set of rules and something that's a little bit bigger than us. We've had some legal teams that have graciously donated their time for this as well. So it's happened so quickly. This has happened just so ultra quickly. My brother owns a web design company, was able to get the site up for us pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. Our executive director has some contacts in the nonprofit industry. We're able to get it, registered fairly quickly. So we're kind of running by the seat of our pants, organized. Mm-hmm. But our biggest thing is right now, we want to help those people here because remember, everything is shut down here from the beginning. There's nothing open except for curbside. There's nothing. There's no bars. There's no nothing. But these people are all out of work.
It's awful.
So we're really, and I'm sure it's terrible there too. It's terrible everywhere. But we wanted to take care of these people as quickly as we could, And once we started the process, we have people from New England that have called, people from down your way that have called, that we want to be able to license a logo. We've involved the breweries by licensing the logo to them so they can have a revenue stream as long as they donate 50% of the money above cost to us, to the organization. We'd love for them to help us spread the word. We've had a handful of breweries out there that have done that as well. So we're trying to generate money for the breweries that are still open as well.
And it's interesting because, especially with the hospitality industry, it's sort of an invisible industry in that you don't really recognize them. But once they're not there anymore, it's very evident. And this disease, this situation really disproportionately affected them most of all, because you can't go do the things that they are there to do.
Yeah, it's really, really tough. And I know a lot of the breweries, all their tasting room personnel, they kept them as long as they could. And, now they're all at home. And my son he just graduated college, but he's a restaurant employee at one of the better craft beer bars. They just opened another location. They were open for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I was one of the people that got chastised for being out celebrating that weekend. But you know what? I would do it all over again. I didn't go. I know you didn't, but I would. That's why I'm Fun Bobby.
It's just Fun Bobby.
That's funny. With the obviously with the slight openings and things of that nature, obviously from the business end, it may not be necessarily the best decision to open. From the people that are coming in, from the patrons and whatnot, is there a lot of pressure to reopen? Are you concerned about sort of a flood of people coming in once you decide to reopen? How are those two dynamics working to work on each other?
I think it's a 50-50 balance. I mean, listen, John had a nice talk with me that I'm a pretty boisterous person. So he's like, you're head of this organization, so you need to tame down some of the things you say. And I want to bite my tongue so bad sometimes, but yes, there's people that are, let's open, and there's people that are like, you're un-American if you don't open. Like, we should all be staying home. I'm not going to tell you what side I'm on, but you can tell. But listen, I want to open. That's all I can tell you. And it's tough. Like, at the end of the day, I'm friends with all these people, and I respect their opinions. I really do. But my opinion matters as well. So, that's the way it has to be. And if you can't differentiate that, everybody's opinion counts.
I work in healthcare, so I have a totally different view of it. So I'm really only dealing with the sick and the families of the sick. So I go, and my wife does it too. We go there, that's what we hear. We leave, that's what we hear. Then we come and we turn the news. So it's hard for me to understand it because every medical professional that I know is doing this, and the other. I think the biggest problem is the cabin fever. And basically there was nothing to do all winter. And now it's starting to get nice. I'm 2 miles from the beach. All the beach stuff opens, the boardwalk, all of our festivals. Our biggest event of the year was canceled. It's our Super Bowl. One of the biggest beer festivals in the country with 160. It's a more than a beer festival. I mean, there's craziness everywhere. It was canceled, and that kind of kicks off the season. And we're just hoping that the rescheduled event in August will happen. I'm more pessimistic than most, but it's there's 8 to 10,000 people in each session. So I don't know how we can do this stuff safely, but I do think there's the people that are just itching. I'm going to go do whatever. And there's the people who are like, I don't care what happens. I'll see you next year. So I think we have there's going to be somewhere in the middle that's going to meet.
Well, I'm not going to ask this question for any particular reason, but obviously delivery is good for everybody. Rob, what about shipping?
So we're not really allowed to ship across state lines, unfortunately. I've gotten beer from other places, but
if you're a winery, you can.
Yeah, if you're
you just can't go to beer brewery.
I'm sorry, what?
It's different rules for different fools here in New Jersey, and it's a matter of how much tax dollars you're bringing in. That's really what it's all about. So if you're a
100 breweries,
you're paying a lot of taxes.
There's 100 breweries, and there's hundreds of bars and restaurants, and that separation between bars and restaurants and breweries has gotten closer. But I mean, as little as 2 years ago, there were bar owners that were if they found out their beer buyer bought craft beer, they were taking it back to the brewery and sticking it on the doorstep. A true story. I mean, Rob, we've seen it. I mean, so the acceptance of craft beer as an adjunct to your business, not an adversary, has been a really, really uphill battle here. And my partner, Tom, who's watching, we've been doing this for a little over 3.5, 4 years, with our main thing being the blog with the stories and the interviews. And we also do a podcast and live stuff and host a lot of events. We've seen it change slowly, but it's still craziness. When we're telling you guys, I can see your eyes rolling. Like, how does that even happen?
Yeah.
The wineries are done by the Department of Agriculture, and the breweries are done by the ABC. Does that even make sense?
No.
Yeah.
So
it reminds me of Rocky IV after he beats Drago. It's like, if I can change, you can change. We all can change. Yeah, like, come on, dude. Like,
I went to a craft beer. I was invited. Me and my wife were invited as guests to the governor's mansion. They had a celebration of craft beer, and Bill Murphy, who I'm happy with what he did here. Me and my wife Tara walk in the door, and the first thing to the left is a giant Budweiser display, giant AB InBev Budweiser display, and
well, they're craft beer. Come on.
It was craziness. And then they, I wrote about it and they weren't happy apparently, but I mean, it's true. I mean, that's where we're at. Jersey.
If I was there?
No, they would not have been happy.
Hey, I have a selfie with the Attorney General of the state.
It was kind of like a backhanded compliment. We had a couple of GABF winners, and it was nice for Jersey. They're there, and then they're looking out. And there's this giant Budweiser display. And the guys from AB InBev were clearly uncomfortable being there. But the governor's wife said, well, it's the largest brewery in New Jersey. And I'm like, yeah, it's the largest beer factory in New Jersey. It's not a brewery. So.
Oh, that's hysterical. That's hysterical. I really don't want to say a whole lot of anything, but I did make Steve suffer through that Kings of Beers movie. If you've ever heard.
Not done with that Kings of Beer.
We promoted it on our site.
Really? Did you watch it yet?
I did. I wrote a not good review. And they wrote me back and said that, blah, 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 blah. And I wrote it back. I'm like, I'm telling you, I know where those people work, who paid for the movie, and what you showed is what it was. They were nice enough guys, and I understand why they did it. They weren't really beer people, and the movie was pretty, and it was kind of cool, but it was just a giant advertisement for AB InBev. I just could not even believe they were passing off as what they did. Nice guys. No offense to the guys. They're fine.
There is a little bit of you in me. There's a little bit of me and you. I mean,
I will say the best part of that movie is watching Charlie Bamforth reach for a beer that is clearly not a Budweiser.
Yeah.
It just made me so happy. So I'm going to leave you with the last question that I usually ask everybody, and I kind of have to ask this differently because, Rob, it's going to be a little bit different from you than it is for you, John. But obviously, a lot of breweries have had to do things that are a little bit different. Make some changes that they don't normally do. So once this is all over, once we're back to normal and everything is perfectly fine, John, what are some changes that you have seen get made? And Rob, what are some changes that you at Tuckahoe have made that you want to see become a permanent part of just how craft beer is done in New Jersey and in the U.S. in general?
I have two things. I think Rob may be on the same thing. Please let the breweries keep delivery. Don't take it away from them when it's over. It's helpful. It gives somebody else a job. It brings money in, and it's cool. The second thing is I'm on IPA overload. I mean, I'm a beer guy. I'll drink just about anything. And IPAs, clearly everywhere across the country, they rule the roost. This has made people make lagers. This has made people do weird stuff because it's got to be in a tank longer. I love that. And Tuckahoe does a great job with variety. But I am tired of getting the double dry hop. I like them, but I would love to see more variety. And I think that this has made people do that for stuff that's going to sit in the tank a little bit longer. That's my two things.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I never did mention the fact that I was drinking my Banana Slinger Hefeweizen from Yeasty Brews, which is overly banana. And it was a couple episodes ago. They said, nobody really makes Hefeweizens anymore because they're not as sexy as those juice bombs or pastry sour porters. So it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, and I have seen that. I've seen the lager sort of make a roaring comeback. John, Rob was gonna interrupted you, unfortunately.
No, that's it. We just put a Hellas in. Our guys, our head brewer Andrew is a purist. Like he loves the West Coast IPAs. He loves the lagers. And brewers before him, same. And as a guy who's out selling it, I want the hazy, but it's not always about the hazy. Honestly, I lost 12 pounds because I've drank less beer over this break. I've been drinking more whiskey. I'm trying to become a connoisseur of whiskey. And I'm going to break Joe DiMaggio's record. You might deem me something like I have a drinking problem, but I have a couple drinks every night and I enjoy myself. So the one thing I would like to see is I would like to see the state embrace us as somebody who brings people from all over the place to the state. Not just the state, but the towns where people, they don't just come here, they go out to dinner. And I would like the local bars and restaurants to see that part of what's going on. We don't just say, hey, stay here. Somebody says, where can I get food? We tell the people that work at our bar, say, hey, go down to Chicken Pete's or go to the Tilton Inn or go to, wherever has our beer over here. And, that's the great thing, about this industry. There's so many great people in it. And, as my second career, I reinvented who I was at 40 years old. And, I was a land surveyor turned salesperson. And I think that I've done a pretty damn good job at that. And, it's awesome to see people come together like this. And we're not embraced. If you drive into our state, you see a winery brochure for the state of New Jersey, but you don't see a brewery brochure, and that's important. The state needs to look at us and say, man, these guys are bringing people here. Listen, it generates toll income because we have more tolls than anybody in the world. That's for damn sure. If you drive through here, you're going to spend a lot of money to go to the Parkway.
I agree with what he said there. That's absolutely true.
It might not be how you would say it, but yes.
No, you made your point.
That's funny. Well, apparently I'm doing the new haze craze right now. So
that's Jason. He's our buddy brewer. They're getting ready to. They're going to have a start. They have a startup that they're getting ready to launch. So they're Jason. Hey,
hi, Jason.
Devil's Alibi.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Here's a name, Steve.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. I thank you both very much for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it. It's always great to hear, especially with the incredible work that you're doing with Brewery Strong. It's phenomenal. And
awesome.
It's something that we just don't get a ton of information on, and it's a group of people that sort of get overlooked, which is sad. Coming up tomorrow on the Sunshine State Happy Hour, we have Cheers Charlotte from North Carolina and Brew Chat. They have 2 T's, so I'm going to assume they're from West Virginia, I guess. I don't know. Please don't cancel on me now. I love you. If you want any information on us, FloridaBeerBlog.com. Florida Beer Podcast is available everywhere that the South Jersey Beer Scene podcast is found. I'm hoping.
Should be.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're on Hopped Up, Apple.
Yeah.
Vic, it's our Vic.
We appreciate you having us on. And
yeah, thank you so much.
Listen,
You'll be getting an email to return the favor to us on a Tuesday night coming up.
Go for it, absolutely. And when you come down to Tampa, you bring some goodies in your backpack. We'll make the drive up, and
I'll make the drive over.
I'll meet you.
We'll show you some good places.
Listen, I didn't want to get quarantined for 14 days right now, so my parents are sitting there. I think my dad's watching, but I couldn't go see him, and it makes me mad. So.
Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you all for coming. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Again.